I've earned 30 plus certifications, and I'm here to guide you to success on your exam. Welcome to the Ultimate MB-310 Exam Masterclass. Are you ready to crack the MB-310 exam in one go? You're in the right place. In this session, we'll arm you with powerful insights and hand-picked questions that can make all the difference in your exam performance. We've scanned the web using intelligent crawlers to gather the most critical and high-impact questions, all compiled into one powerful PDF resource. You can download it from the link in the description. Not only will we explore these must-practice questions, but we'll also share real exam experiences and pro tips to give you that competitive edge. Let's dive into the key questions that could shape your success. Question 1. A company is preparing to complete a year-end close process. You need to configure the Dynamics 365 Finance General Ledger module. Which 3 configurations actions should you perform? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Note: each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Configure the fiscal year close parameters. B. Configure the ledger calendar for the new fiscal year. C. Set up the year-end close template. D. Validate the main account type. E. Create the next fiscal year. Correct answer A, C, and E. Configure the fiscal year close parameters. Set up the year-end close template. Create the next fiscal year. Explanation: year-end close requires fiscal year close parameters, a close template, and creating the next fiscal year for continuation. Question 2. A client has unique accounting needs that sometimes require posting definitions. You need to implement posting definitions. In which situation should you implement posting definitions? A. When financial dimensions need to default from the vendor record onto an invoice. B. When only certain dimensions are allowed to post with certain main account combinations. C. When creating multiple balanced ledger entries based on transaction types or accounts. D. When the system needs to automatically post a transaction to the accounts receivable account on invoice posting. Correct answer, C. When creating multiple balanced ledger entries based on transaction types or accounts. Explanation: posting definitions allow creation of multiple balanced ledger entries for specific transaction types or accounts. Question 3. An organization is setting up a cost accounting. You need to set up fiscal calendars for Dynamics 365 Finance. What are 3 uses for fiscal calendars? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Note: each correct selection is worth 1 point. A. Standard work hours. B. Financial transactions. C. Fixed asset depreciation. D. Budget cycles. E. Shift work hours. Correct answer B, C, and D. Financial transactions. Fixed asset depreciation. Budget cycles. Explanation: fiscal calendars are used for managing financial transactions, fixed asset depreciation schedules, and budget cycles. Question 4. You are configuring automatic bank reconciliation functionality for a company that has multiple bank accounts. The company wants to import their bank statements. You need to import electronic bank statements to reconcile the bank accounts. Which 3 actions can you perform? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. A. Select all the bank accounts for the bank statement files, and then upload all files. B. Select account reconciliation on the bank account form. C. Import bank statements from the data management workspace. D. Navigate to import statement on the bank statements page of cash and bank management. E. Select import statement for multiple bank accounts in all legal entities, and then upload a zip file. Correct answer C, D, and E. Import bank statements from the data management workspace. Navigate to import statement on the bank statements page of cash and bank management. Select import statement for multiple bank accounts in all legal entities, and then upload a zip file. Explanation. Bank statements can be imported using Data Management, the Bank Statements page, or bulk import with a zip file. Question 5. A company plans to create a new allocation rule for electric utilities expenses. The allocation rule must meet the following requirements. Distribute overhead utility expense to each department. Define how and in what proportion the source amounts must be distributed on various destination lines. You need to configure the allocation rule. Which allocation method should you use? A. Distribute the source document amount equally. B. Fixed weight. C. Equally. D. Basis. Correct answer D. Basis. Explanation. The basis method distributes costs proportionally according to predefined drivers like square footage or usage. Question 6. An organization uses Dynamics 365 Finance. Several posted journal entries contain invalid main account and dimension combinations. This leads to incorrect financial reporting. You need to prevent these invalid combinations. What should you do? A. Configure the account structure to specify which financial dimensions are valid for which main accounts. B. Train users to select the Validate button in the current journal configuration so that the correct account and dimension combination is used. C. Configure financial dimension sets to limit which financial dimensions are valid for which main accounts. D. Associate the correct main accounts to that financial dimension on the financial dimension setup form. Correct answer A. Configure the account structure to specify which financial dimensions are valid for which main accounts. Explanation. Account structures control which financial dimensions are allowed for each main account combination, preventing errors. Question 7. A legal entity has locations and customers in multiple states within the United States. You need to ensure that taxable customers are charged sales tax for taxable items in their delivery location. Which 3 settings must you configure? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. A. The sales tax group on the customer record. B. The terms of delivery setup. C. The item sales tax group on the item record. D. The sales reporting codes. E. The sales tax codes. Correct answer A, C, and E. The sales tax group on the customer record. The item sales tax group on the item record. The sales tax codes. Explanation. Sales tax groups, item sales tax groups, and sales tax codes work together to calculate correct taxes. Question 8. You are configuring Dynamics 365 Finance. You need to implement posting definitions for all available transaction types. For which type of transactions can you implement posting definitions? A. Accounts payable, accounts receivable, bank, budget, payroll, and purchasing. B. Accounts payable, bank, budget, fixed assets, and payroll. C. Accounts payable, accounts receivable, fixed assets, payroll, and purchasing. D. Accounts payable, accounts receivable, budget, and fixed assets. Correct answer A. Accounts payable, accounts receivable, bank, budget, payroll, and purchasing. Explanation. Posting definitions apply to accounts payable, accounts receivable, bank, budget, payroll, and purchasing transactions. Question 9. A public sector company is configuring encumbrance for managing capital budgets. The finance department needs to configure posting definitions for bank transactions. You need to configure Dynamics 365 Finance for cash settlements. What should you do? A. Configure combined deposit amounts. B. Configure budget appropriations. C. Configure general ledger year-end close. D. Configure advanced ledger entries. Correct answer A. Configure combined deposit amounts. Explanation. Cash settlements are handled by configuring combined deposit amounts for proper reconciliation. Question 10. You are a Dynamics 365 finance expert for an organization. You need to configure the financial period close workspace. Which 3 configuration processes should you use? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. A. Create templates that contain the required tasks within the closing process and assign to closing role. B. Create a separate closing schedule for every legal entity. C. Assign a ledger calendar to the closing process. D. Create task areas and descriptions. E. Designate resources and their scope based on closing roles. Correct answer A, D, and E. Create templates that contain the required tasks within the closing process and assign to closing role. Create task areas and descriptions. Designate resources and their scope based on closing roles. Explanation. Templates, task areas, and role-based resource assignments structure the financial close process. Question 11. You are a Dynamics 365 finance consultant. You are currently unable to collaborate or track progress toward month-end close across legal entities in the current system. You need to resolve the issue. What should you configure? A. Financial reporting. B. Financial Insights Workspace. C. Electronic reporting. D. Financial Period Close Workspace. Correct answer D. Financial Period Close Workspace. Explanation. The Financial Period Close Workspace enables collaboration and tracking of close tasks across entities. Question 12. You are a Dynamics 365 finance consultant. You plan to configure the allocation base, cost behavior, and cost distribution. Which 3 actions do these configurations accomplish? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. A. Spread costs from one cost object to one or more other cost objects by applying a relevant allocation base. B. Measure and quantify activities, such as machine hours that are used, kilowatt hours that are consumed, or square footage that is occupied. C. Spread the balance of the cost from one cost object to one or more other cost objects by applying a relevant allocation base. D. Control which journals can be used in the costing process. E. Classify costs according to their behavior in relation to changes in key business activities. Correct answer A, B, and E. Spread costs from one cost object to one or more other cost objects by applying a relevant allocation base. Measure and quantify activities, such as machine hours that are used, kilowatt hours that are consumed, or square footage that is occupied. Classify costs according to their behavior in relation to changes in key business activities. Explanation. Allocation base spreads costs, cost behavior classifies activity drivers, and cost distribution assigns cost flows. Question 13. You are a finance consultant. Your client needs you to configure cash flow forecasting. The client wants specific percentages of main accounts to contribute to different cash flow forecasts for other main accounts. You need to configure Dynamics 365 for finance to meet the needs of the client. What should you do? A. On the cash flow forecasting setup form, configure the primary main account to assign a percentage to the dependent account. B. Configure the parent/child relationship for the main account and sub-accounts by using appropriate percentages. C. Configure the cash flow forecasting setup for accounts payable before you configure vendor posting profiles. D. On the cash flow forecasting setup form, use the dependent accounts setup to specify which account and percentage is associated to the main account. Correct answer D. On the cash flow forecasting setup form, use the dependent accounts setup to specify which account and percentage is associated to the main account. Explanation. Dependent accounts in cash flow forecasting allow percentages of one account to contribute to another. Question 14. A company plans to use Dynamics 365 Finance to calculate sales tax on sales orders. You need to automatically calculate sales tax when the sales order is created. Which 3 actions should you perform? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. A. Assign values to the sales tax codes and assign the sales tax codes to the sales tax group associated to the customer. B. Assign all sales tax codes to the item sales tax group associated to the item being sold. C. Set up a default item sales tax group on the item being sold and set up a default sales tax group on the customer used on the sales order. D. Associate the sales tax jurisdictions to the item sales tax group associated to the item being sold. E. Set up a default sales tax code on the customer used on the sales order and set up a default item sales tax group on the item being sold. Correct answer A, B, and C. Assign values to the sales tax codes and assign the sales tax codes to the sales tax group associated to the customer. Assign all sales tax codes to the item sales tax group associated to the item being sold. Set up a default item sales tax group on the item being sold and set up a default sales tax group on the customer used on the sales order. Explanation. Sales tax is calculated when tax codes are assigned to groups and both item and customer groups are defined. Question 15. A client wants Dynamics 365 Finance to calculate sales tax on a sales order line once an item is added. The sales tax group is already populated with a value. You need to ensure that the sales tax will calculate. Which field should you populate? A. Sales tax code. B. Item group. C. Customer address. D. Item sales tax group. Correct answer D. Item sales tax group. Explanation. The item sales tax group field is required for sales tax calculation along with the sales tax group. Question 16. A customer uses the sales tax functionality in Dynamics 365 Finance. The customer reports that when a sales order is created, sales tax does not calculate on the line. You need to determine why sales tax is not calculated. What are 2 possible reasons? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. A. The sales tax group is populated on the line, but the item sales tax group is missing. B. The sales tax settlement account is not configured correctly. C. The sales tax authority is not set up for the correct jurisdiction. D. The sales tax code and item sales tax code are selected, but the sales tax group is not associated to both codes. E. The sales tax group and item sales tax group are selected, but the sales tax code is not associated with both groups. Correct answer A and E. The sales tax group is populated on the line, but the item sales tax group is missing. The sales tax group and item sales tax group are selected, but the sales tax code is not associated with both groups. Explanation. Missing item sales tax group or incorrect association of codes with groups can stop tax from calculating. Question 17. An organization is upgrading to Dynamics 365 Finance. One of the organization's legal entities needs to have different main accounts for a period of 6 months. You need to configure the legal entity override dates. Which 2 actions can you perform? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. A. Set the value of the override date field at the legal entity level to be more restrictive. B. Set the value of the override date field at the shared level to be more restrictive. C. Set the value of the override date field at the legal level to be less restrictive. D. Set the value of the override date field at the shared level to be less restrictive. Correct answer A and D. Set the value of the override date field at the legal entity level to be more restrictive. Set the value of the override date field at the shared level to be less restrictive. Explanation. Override dates can be controlled by setting legal entity more restrictive or shared level less restrictive. Question 18. A client uses the standard trial balance in Dynamics 365 Finance. The client has the following requirements: ability to run the trial balance by main account, department, and division. Ability to run the trial balance by just main account and department. You need to ensure that these options are visible in the trial balance report parameters. What should you configure? A. Ledger validation. B. Financial dimensions for department and division. C. Financial dimension sets. D. Account structure. Correct answer, C. Financial dimension sets. Explanation. Financial dimension sets define which dimensions are included in reports like trial balance. Question 19. A client has one legal entity and the following four dimensions configured: business unit, cost center, department, and division. You need to configure the client's system to run the trial balance inquiry in the general ledger module so that it displays the trial balance two ways. Include the main account and all four dimensions. Include the main account and only the business unit and cost center dimensions. What should you configure? A. Two account structures. B. Two derived financial dimension hierarchies. C. All financial dimensions by using the group dimension functionality. D. Two financial dimension sets. Correct answer D. Two financial dimension sets. Explanation. Different trial balance views require creating multiple financial dimension sets for reporting flexibility. Question 20. You are configuring intercompany accounting for a multi-company enterprise. You need to set up the due to and due from accounts. Which main account type should you use? A. Profit and loss. B. Expense. C. Balance sheet. D. Liability. E. Asset. Correct answer, C. Balance sheet. Explanation. Due to and due from accounts are balance sheet accounts that record intercompany transactions. Question 21. You need to resolve the issue that user 4 reports. What should you do? A. Change the status of the vendor collaboration request. B. Create a vendor account with the system externalizer role and the vendor admin external role. C. Remove the external system user role from the vendor. D. Manually create the vendor account with the system user role. Correct answer A. Change the status of the vendor collaboration request. Explanation. Adjusting the vendor collaboration request status ensures proper vendor onboarding and collaboration access. Question 22. You need to ensure the promotional gifts are posted to the correct account. What should you use? A. Field groups. B. Classification groups. C. Customer credit groups. D. Item groups. E. Bank groups. Correct answer D. Item groups. Explanation. Item groups determine how items, including promotional gifts, are posted in financial accounts. Question 23. You need to ensure that captured employee mobile receipts automatically match the transactions to resolve the user 1 issue. Which feature should you enable? A. Define expense policy for receipts. B. Expense reports reimagined. C. Expense management workspace. D. Show receipts during itemization. Correct answer B. Expense reports reimagined. Explanation. The reimagined expense reports feature supports auto-matching of mobile receipts with transactions. Question 24. You need to prevent the issue from reoccurring for user 5. What should you do? A. Use the audit list search query type. B. Set up the aggregate query type for entertainment expenses. C. Set up the sampling query type for entertainment expenses. D. Add more keywords to the audit policy. Correct answer D. Add more keywords to the audit policy. Explanation. Expanding keywords in the audit policy ensures relevant transactions are captured during reviews. Question 25. The Canadian franchise purchases excess ski equipment from the US franchise. 2 sets of skis are purchased totaling $1,000. When the purchase invoice is prepared, $10,000 is keyed in by mistake. Which configuration determines the result for this intercompany trade scenario? A. Post invoices with discrepancies is set to require approval. B. Match invoice totals is set to yes. C. Three-way match policy is configured. D. Two-way match policy is configured. E. Post invoices with discrepancies is set to allow with warning. Correct answer A. Post invoices with discrepancies is set to require approval. Explanation. Requiring approval for invoices with discrepancies prevents incorrect amounts from posting automatically. Question 26. You need to troubleshoot the reporting issue for user 7. Why are some transactions being excluded? A. User 7 is running the report in Company B. B. User 7 is running the report in Company A. C. The report is correctly excluding customer Y transactions. D. The report is correctly excluding customer Z transactions. Correct answer A. User 7 is running the report in Company B. Explanation. Running the report in the wrong company, Company B, causes some transactions to be excluded. Question 27. You need to configure settings to resolve user 8's issue. What should you select? A. A main account in the sales tax payable field. B. A main account in the settlement account field. C. The conditional sales tax checkbox. D. The standard sales tax checkbox. Correct answer B. A main account in the settlement account field. Explanation. A settlement account must be configured to correctly post sales tax settlements. Question 28. You need to configure the system to resolve user 8's issue. What should you select? A. The standard sales tax checkbox. B. The conditional sales tax checkbox. C. A main account in the settlement account field. D. A main account in the sales tax payable field. Correct answer, C. A main account in the settlement account field. Explanation. Selecting a settlement account ensures the tax calculation process functions correctly. Question 29. You manage fixed assets using Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance. You need to define capitalization thresholds. Which page should you use? A. Main account. B. Released item. C. Fixed asset posting profile. D. Fixed asset group. Correct answer D. Fixed asset group. Explanation. Capitalization thresholds are defined at the fixed asset group level to control asset capitalization. Question 30. You need to configure the financial reporting fiscal calendar for customer X. What should you do? A. Use the ledger calendar to set up the 454 calendar. B. Configure the fiscal calendar to include a 13th closing period. C. Configure the ledger calendar to include a 13th closing period. D. Use the closing period adjustments form. Correct answer B. Configure the fiscal calendar to include a 13th closing period. Explanation. A fiscal calendar with a 13th closing period is used to support reporting adjustments. Please revise full PDF 2 to 3 times for 100% success. Check the description for the PDF download link and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for upcoming episodes. Thank you.